Welcome back everyone to Lord of the Rings video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Hunt for the Dreadnought scenario pack. This is the latest standalone unique scenario for Lord of the Rings, the card game. And the basic story is there are rumours about a pillaging colossal dreadnought, a warship, and your goal is to track it down, find it and destroy it. Quite a simple story. I love the theme set up on the high seas. It reminds me of Pirates of the Caribbean. I can't help but compare it to Pirates of the Caribbean, the black flag, I don't know, it just works for me, like when you're playing the locations, the enemies, the ships, that just remind you of the swashbuckling adventures across the high seas. So let's look at the cards first and discuss how the game works. So straight away we have 3 copies of the reference cards difficulties. We have easy, standard and hard. And this is pretty cool, it's especially great for new players too, because easy mode is quite relatively, it's not easy, but for Lord of the Rings it's very simple. It basically, you remove certain cards, you add extra resources, and also each one has special effects. As in this one here, flip it over, you draw an extra card on the resource phase, and also you can, for once per game, you can deal 10 damage to a non-unique enemy engaged with a player. So it's really helpful for new players for killing enemies, extra card, and then the orc keeps it on the draw step. This one also, you don't draw an extra card, but you can do 10 damage again. And the hard mode version basically doesn't have anything like that. It's actually more sinister, you can't reduce your threat, and after a character's healed or ready by a player card effect, control raises its threat by 1. So I really like how they've handled the difficulty here. Easy is incredibly easy, the extra resources, take out a lot of enemies, and the extra cards you get is really good. Standard is quite basic, quite simple, no extra resources, but a few hard cards taken out as well, push for that cool quest action. And hard mode for the real hardcore people out there. Efford's in there, all the hard enemies, all the hard locations, and basically you get nothing but increased threat, which is pretty harsh. Okay, let's look at the next one. We have they have side A and side B. So side A, your minimum deck size is 100 cards. Your threat can't be reduced by player card effects. As an action, you can exhaust this card, raise your threat by 1, take the top 2 cards of your deck, draw 1, sort of on the bottom of the deck, and force, when you win by elimination, reach your threat elimination level, flip this card over instead. And the other side is, same again, your threat can't be reduced by non-contract player effects. Here you control the exhausted quest, and this card flip to this side, reduce your threat by 10, touch your deck for a card, and it's your hand or play, reduce its cost by 3, and then shuffle your deck. So a really wacky, weird way of playing. You can make a deck around this. I want to see some, if you guys can send me a deck list using this contract, I'd very like to see this, a 100 card deck. It'd be very, I mean, I don't know how you're really going to make a deck of 100 cards. The chance of drawing what you need are going to be slim to none. Okay, let's look at the quest. So the quest is only 2 cards, and it's quite simple. The first card is basically search for the Dreadnaught. There's nothing too insane about this. You can't add more than 5 progress. Has a global quest point of 8 per group, so you play multiplayer. Each group will have 8 adds together. It's quite simple, just add quests to the location. And the next quest is find a Dreadnaught and destroy it. This is when you find a Dreadnaught and you put it in the staging area, elite side face up. Basically, the next act of the game is just to destroy Dreadnaught. You can quest if you want to, no more than 5 per round, and you can also remove 5 to add a set aside Gondolian warship card into the counter deck. These are objective cards that you can, if you draw it, you can help you. And also, when a Dreadnaught attacks you, a threat by 4 cancels the attack. Dreadnaught is tough, but his threat by 4 is going to be really helpful. So let's look at straight away the elephant in the room, the ginormous, oversized, really cool Dreadnaught card. I love this card, it's so smart. I didn't notice it at first. I opened the pack looking at the cards, thinking, oh, they're all nice, and then I looked, oh, what's that about the bottom of the pack? Oh, it's a giant card. So it has 2 sides, elite and damaged. When the second scenario comes in, this comes into play. It has 4 threat, 7 attack, 4 defense, so it's quite tough. It's not insanely tough, the highest I've seen, it's quite tough. The problem is though, we have a lot of enemies in the staging area at this point, so it's going to be quite hard to face off and destroy. Has archery 1, so that means you're going to take 1 damage, start the counter phase. Massive means everyone's engaged with it at once. It means player card effects. Can take more than 5 damage per player each round. Has a global hit point value of 15 per player among all groups, so the more players, the more hit points it has. At the end of the round, if it has less than half its starting hit point, flip it over. So this will happen after your second attack, so you can only do more than 5 damage per turn. It has 15 health if you're playing solo anyway. And this is the cool side, it's like sort of going down in flames, last sort of stand. I love the artwork, the flames around the card, the set symbol's really nice here too. Stats change slightly, has a bit less defense, but less attack. Same kind of thing, it doesn't lose his archery though, but after it flips, you set aside a unique Corsair enemy into play and random engage with them. So in this deck, when you make the game, you obviously have your regular encounter cards. Oh, first of all, let me start with something really cool. Before you start the game, you each get your own ship. You get to pick your own ship. There's 6 ships to pick from. I'll just show you them quickly here. So they're all different. So we have the Pride of Lebanon, Silent Mist, Swan Ship of Dol Amaroth, Twilight's Call, Elitheliant, and the Golden Wing. Each one is a ship objective ally. They all have really good hit points, good stats. For instance, this one here, immune plays card effects, Sentinel, each hero gets +1 defense. When you draw your starting hand, draw 5 additional cards and shuffle 5 cards to hand to your deck. You can take a mulligan. This one, your starting hand size is 8 cards, and as an action, play an event from your hand at the cost of 3 or more, which is cost by 1. This one has setup and 1 resource to each of your hero's resource pools and spends a resource for every character. So that's a really good one. I used that one in my first game. Twilight's Call has the first card you play each round does not require a resource match, which is really great in certain decks. An action, play an ally attachment from your hand. We also have this one here, gives heroes +1 willpower. Setup, choose a hero you control, and to the end of the game, that hero gains the printed traits of another hero you control. This could be really great in certain decks if you want to get a hero, basically modify that hero to benefit your needs of the deck. Certain other heroes, synergize other heroes, different traits like Gondor, Ranger, Sentinel, certain things like that. Golden Wing here, each hero gets +1 hit points. Setup, reduce your threat by 3, choose a hero you control, at the end of the game, a hero gains range, that's pretty handy. And finally, yeah, that's it. Okay, so you pick one of these, and they're all pretty cool. They all have a different size to them. You can upgrade them, as you can see here, for certain effects in the game. The upgraded size is basically the exact same thing, with extra stats, extra abilities. These are the Gondorian warships. These shuffle into the counter deck. On reveal, choose a player, you can control a Gondorian warship, and Gondorian warship is destroyed, sets out of play. Basically like a tough, helpful ally. It's important here to know that the ship keyword in this game. So a new term is a ship term, which you can see here on certain enemies. It's a ship. Ship enemies function like normal enemies. When they attack though, they have to be defended by ship objectives. So only these kind of cards or these ones can defend ship cards. Watch out for them. And if obviously it's defended, assign damage to a hero. And ship objectives are quite similar. They can only attack ship enemies. Non-ship enemies may not only be attacked by ship objective. So it makes attacking the Dreadnought quite hard. Basically, you need more of the ships out and keep your ship strong to fight it. We also get 7 set-aside unique Corsair enemies. All really cool artwork on there, like pirates and commanders of ships. In most modes are set aside. When the Dreadnought does certain things or certain encounter cards, you put one into play randomly. They all have certain effects. They all, when they're engaged, can attack a Dreadnought, so you need to get them out of the way quickly. They're kind of tough, but not too strong. Some were at least 2 are quite hard, of 8 attack, 5 defense, that with 9 health. There are also certain effects, like they deal damage to non-ship enemies, they'll raise your threat. When the game starts, you are instructed to make a Corsair deck. Now what you do is, you take all the Corsair enemies, all these sort of pirates and pillagers, shuffle them face down, and put them out of the way, and basically they respond to the boarding keyword. You can see here, boarding 2, something like that's boarding 3. And basically, when you engage an enemy with boarding, depending on the number, you draw cards from the Corsair deck and put them into staging area. For instance, the black ship here has boarding 2. When we engage it, we draw 2 cards from this and add to the staging area. These act as the sort of pirates and occupants of the ship, jumping out to attack us as we try to engage the ship. So we have the Corsair enemies there. We have the sort of regular enemies that are in the encounter deck. A lot of these are just ships. Really nice artwork. Really great theme, sort of high seas pirate theme. They are generally quite tough. The counter deck's quite big though, so you might not see that many. They all have boarding, most of them have archery, so they have a lot of health, so you're going to need your ship to help fight them. 2 copies of the Sea Monster card, which is really cool. You see there, it's like a giant monster in the sea or attack a ship. When revealed, deal 4 damage to a ship enemy, which have adapted to fuse hit points, so he is quite tough. We also get the locations here are really nice. They're all sort of nice islands, nice cities, nice coastlines. Wicked Cove, Trafalgar's Landing, Mouth of Anduin, Belfast Shipyard. You see here, they've done really well with the theme of this one. It feels different than the rest of the Lord of the Rings theme to me anyway. It feels really unique. and just some treacheries here. Most of these revolve around enemies in the staging area, your ship, stuff getting archery, generally trying to hinder your ship along the way, because your ship is the key. You need the ship. You need the ship to win. As part of gameplay goes, this is really fun. Like I said, the easy mode is really good for new players if you just want to just try it out first, try a deck out. It's one of the more slightly easy scenarios. I mean, it's not easy. Nothing in Lord of the Rings, the card game, is ever going to be easy, okay? But this is one that I really enjoy playing. If you like the theme, if you like the idea of having ships, having just basically a big boss. This is like a boss battle. Think of it as having a big boss battle, building up, getting your ships ready, getting your army ready, and try basically hold off the pirates or the Corsairs while your ship bombards their ship as a ship-to-ship kind of battle. I can see this being really great in multiplayer, and with everyone having their own ship and they're all firing and trying to stop the Dreadnought from winning. It makes it really fun. And that's it for this review. I'll be doing a playthrough tomorrow or later on today for this, to show you how it works. Any questions about this game, about certain cards, about how certain keywords and text and rulings work, let me know in the comments, and you can leave a like and subscribe, appreciate that, and thanks for watching.